I wish I could say I've wanted to be an architect ever since I was a little girl. But when I was a little girl, I simply did not know what architecture was. I used to think I was from nowhere, or at least nowhere that mattered, and I never felt any connection to the environment that surrounded me. I knew that I lived in Northwest Indiana, that before me, my mother lived in Harvey, Illinois, and that before her, my grandmother lived in Amory, Mississippi. If I were to follow in my family's footsteps, my hometown was just a brief stop on a longer journey that was destined to lead me elsewhere. This constant movement and the lack of spatial identity that came with it has greatly influenced my understanding of architecture and its power to shape the lives of the people it surrounds. My name is Miranda Cuozzo, and I am a fourth-year architecture student at the University of Notre Dame with minors in Africana Studies and Studio Art. My design process is a product of these academic experiences, as well as my own lived experiences and those of my family, and I approach every design with 3 guiding principles in mind. First, I believe designs should be people-centric and prioritize the pedestrian experience over that of the car. When tasked with revitalizing the Lower Senate Park area in Washington, D.C., my primary goal was to bring life to the area and provide the amenities necessary to sustain human inhabitants. After analyzing the site, especially existing traffic and parking conditions, my partners and I made adjustments that would still ensure the accommodation of the vehicle while shifting the focus of the site to the pedestrian. We paid particular attention to spatial sequencing, designating a main axis that visually connects Union Station and the Capitol building, while providing secondary sequences that connect to other public spaces. These sequences, as well as the different building types and amenities they provide, all exist within a 10-minute walking circle to ensure the ability to live and thrive in this neighborhood without relying on a car. Next, I believe that beautiful architecture and the dignity that comes with it is not a luxury for the rich, but a human right to which everyone deserves access. This principle was critical in my design process for the proposed Union Hotel in Washington, D.C. Buildings should give back to and fully participate in their communities, and the Union is designed to do just that. First, it sits in front of a public plaza, sharing its beauty as a landmark for the community rather than reserving it for those with the means to rent its rooms. The restaurant, bar, and ballroom also provide opportunities for community engagement and are easily identified by their differentiated entrances. Additionally, the Union's facade uses a design system and style that seamlessly blends with the surrounding context and is easily recognized and understood by the general public. Lastly, rather than simply pursuing the fleeting whims of the present, I believe that architecture should use tried and true lessons from the past to design for a just and sustainable future that will outlive us all. As such, I begin all of my designs by studying the history of the site as well as relevant precedent from other areas. For the urban design of Lower Senate Park, I studied urban conditions of many cities to better understand their sequences, centers, and disposition of public spaces. For the Union Hotel, I primarily looked at the Sherry Hotel in New York and the Tremont House in New Jersey. These examples guided my process of shaping public spaces and organizing their sequential layout. In laying out these sequences, I also paid careful attention to their functionality and structural viability, completing a code analysis midway through the project, as well as a structural plan of a typical guest floor. As with all of my designs, the Union Hotel was realized through a process of research, analysis, group collaboration, sketching, and 3D modeling. While these methods are integral to my design process, it is my commitment to beautiful, equitable, and sustainable architecture that allows me to create truly impactful designs. Through my involvement in diversity and inclusion efforts, both within and outside of the realm of architecture, I have developed a passion for architecture's ability to shape communities, especially those that have been historically marginalized. I appreciate Gensler's commitment to this idea, as well as their constant innovation and culture of collaboration, and believe I would be a great asset to furthering these ideals. Throughout my time at Notre Dame, I have learned how to foster relationships and work with people from different backgrounds, how to design within the context of a place's history and cultural identity, and how to verbally and visually express my efforts to do just this. When I was younger, I didn't know what architecture was because architecture did not have a lot of room for little black girls with a heritage of migration. If I could talk to my younger self, however, I would tell her this wasn't true. I'd tell her that architecture is a way to create homes, communities, and cities that not only allow people to flourish but actively aid in their efforts to do so. It is culture and history and identity, and it is the backdrop on which our lives play out. I believe that architecture really does have the power to change lives and think that Gensler would be an excellent place to put this belief into practice.